Cybersleuths have pointed out a very suspicious detail at Jay Slater's celebration, and it appears as though Jay's friends he went on the trip to Tenerife with might not have been invited. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. 19-year-old Jay was put to rest this weekend in a beautiful celebration of life. Down in the Rapids, a searcher for Jay Slater joined in on the celebration along with Jay's friend Brad. It was heartwarming, but at the same time sad watching everyone come together to celebrate Jay's short life. So rest in peace, Jay. But Cybersleuths pointed out a suspicious detail that could point to what really happened to Jay, because we all thought that this may have been involved in Jay's disappearance. Just watch the guy in the puffy jacket on the left. He appears to do something that a lot of people are calling into question. So as the parade walks by, he seems to see somebody that he knows and gives this person a handshake. But it doesn't look like any old handshake, as many people feel that he may be passing something to this person. And you know what? I would have to agree with this Cybersleuth. It does look like there was a handshake, and in that handshake, he passed something from his pocket to the other person, not realizing that there was a camera filming them right then and there. It was also revealed by Cybersleuths that there was allegedly a filming notice at Jay's celebration, writing, quote, "Still about the money," end quote, as it's suspected Jay's story might be turned into a documentary. And to be honest, would you be surprised? I mean, this is such a cash grab to turn this into like a pay-per-view movie on like Lifetime. One user wrote, quote, "Sorry, but if I lost my child, the last thing I want is to be reminded on national TV series. Unbelievable," end quote. Jay Slater's family has been receiving backlash over their GoFundMe that was set up by Jay's friend Lucy immediately after Jay disappeared. The GoFundMe surpassed its original goal of £30,000 to over £70,000. And then Jay's mother asked for more donations to give Jay the send-off he deserves. So another ask for donations was set up at Jay's celebration for LBT Global in the amount of £5,000. Cybersleuths are curious to know where all that money went, since the searchers revealed they worked for free and only had their travel and accommodation paid for. The repatriation and funeral costs are estimated to be around £20,000. So that leaves about £50,000 that we don't know where that went. So early on, there was an insider who allegedly worked with Jay and his friends Lucy, who said Jay had lost a bag of substances at the Energy Rave Festival, and the dealer wanted £30,000 to release Jay. So the GoFundMe being set up at £30,000 was kind of like a strange coincidence that many people feel was the true reason for raising this money. I mean, they set it up immediately after Jay disappeared. And it turns out Jay's friends who went on vacation with him to Tenerife, Lucy and Brandon, were there along with Brad, as we discussed earlier. But one Cybersleuth believes that they were not invited to the after party at the pub.
But from where we were parked, I saw some familiar faces. I saw at least 3 that you, the viewers, know. And I saw at least 1, I believe 2 of the gang members where Jay was involved in the machete attack on Tom Hilton. So it was quite an eye-opener for me.
So that is interesting that members of the 2021 altercation involving Jay Slater and his group of friends targeting Tom Hilton were there, because there is a theory that Tom is friends with Lucy, and Tom and Lucy set up Jay to sort of get revenge over this 2021 altercation.
I'm not sure if Lucy and Brandon were invited as guests into the pub, because they seemed to be stood opposite the pub staring across.
That's Lucy. Well, they think it's Lucy. It looks like her to me. And that is definitely Brandon. And there they all are. They look sad. Probably because they're not invited to the pub. So, which begs the question, why weren't Brandon and Lucy potentially uninvited to the after party at the pub? It turns out that many cybersleuths believe that Brandon and Lucy have something to do with Jay's disappearance, because a lot of people actually think that Brandon is Johnny Vegas because Brandon looks so much like the comedian Johnny Vegas. Early reports from the Daily Mail indicated that Jay went back to the B&B with a convicted substance dealer, Ayub Kasim, and a man named Johnny Vegas. Many cybersleuths have pointed out that Brandon has remained quiet throughout the investigation, and some have even suggested he was hiding his face because there were marks on it from an altercation at the B&B. So was Lucy and Brandon not invited back to the pub because they were the ones who set Jay up? Lucy said she didn't know Ayub, but then Ayub said he received a call from her and then she showed up to his B&B. So how would Lucy know this information if she didn't know him like she stated? There was also this suspicious picture of Ayub with an unnamed woman that is making the rounds, and the picture was actually from the 11th of June, a week before Jay disappeared. So cybersleuths are convinced that this is Lucy talking to Ayub. Ayub was one of the last people to ever see Jay alive. Surprisingly, this picture was never fully debunked and allegedly even shows the same mole that Lucy has on her back. As of yet, there's still no confirmation that this is Lucy, but the mole really kind of stands out in my mind that this could be her. It was the same blanket from Lucy's accommodation that she was sharing with Jay on the night he disappeared in Jay's final Snapchat photo on the left. In this final Snapchat photo, cybersleuths believe they see painted toenails sticking out from under this blanket. And yeah, I can see 4 feet in this final photograph. Did Jay never make it to the B&B and this photograph was staged to make it seem like he was there and he was alive? The steps to the B&B were later painted and the B&B was allegedly deep cleaned. Private investigator Mark William Thomas, or MWT, claimed that the criminal underworld might be involved in this case, as we saw in the Celebration of Life footage that Jay was allegedly involved in this sort of stuff. MWT claimed that Jay's friends may not be being truthful because they are trying to hide what they were up to that night. So the morning Jay disappeared, he spent the night at a convicted substance dealer's, Ayub Kasim's, remote B&B, 23 miles north of his accommodation with his friends for reasons unknown. The convicted substance dealers said they went back to the B&B to party, but then admitted to the Daily Mail that they all just went to bed. After the announcement of Jay's passing was ruled an accident by authorities, Ayub and this man named Rocky began going on TikTok live and appear to be excited, and were even trying to shill like crypto coins and charging people for more information. And in a now deleted post, Ayub and Rocky even threw a barbecue the day of Jay's ceremony when he was laid to rest. Ayub on his TikTok live said he searched for Jay in the mountains at night, even though Jay disappeared in the morning. It was said Jay couldn't charge his phone at the B&B because there was no outlets, but the photos proved otherwise. According to Ayub, Jay went on an 11-hour hike for quote-unquote scran, which is food, but couldn't he have just gotten food at their B&B? Ayub said they zoomed through the Alaska Mountains in half an hour after the NRG rave to go to their remote B&B, but the footage shows that the roads were so windy on the Alaska Mountains, which would make going at high speeds impossible. So Ayub's story doesn't really add up in a number of ways. I mean, Ayub also said they stopped to get a fizzy drink on the way there, but there were no stores open at 2 in the morning when they made this journey to this B&B. It's still unclear why 19-year-old Jay went to this 31-year-old's B&B. Here's Ayub hanging out with youngins, and this is the exact location that Jay disappeared. And a lot of people think that they're doing the 3 wise monkey pose, which is see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil, as in they got away with something on this road And it just so happens to be where Jay vanished from. MWT spoke of a Rolex possibly having to do with Jay's disappearance as well. And Rolex is slang for a substance. So cybersleuths are making these crazy connections that maybe, along with the footage we just saw at the start of this video, that substances are involved in Jay's disappearance. This story has been rife with suspicious details, including his friends and family believing Jay had been taken and his mother receiving messages that Jay owed a debt before his disappearance even went viral. So it wasn't plagued by trolls at this point when Debbie was receiving these ransom messages.
To let him go, he's not a bad person. He's just got in maybe with some strangers who befriended him. I'm not stupid. I've been to Tenerife before. I've worked abroad myself. These were all the warnings that I gave to him as well. Just if you've got him, he's not a bad person. He's just got in some, I don't know, if he has got in any trouble, just let him go. Just let him go.
A lot of people think that's her admitting that she knows what happened to him. And it's also strange that Lucy immediately set up a GoFundMe when he disappeared for the exact amount this insider said that he owed. So the searchers searched for 3 weeks with world-class sniffer dogs and found nothing. Then at 4 weeks, an anonymous tip-off was given to the Tenerife police, and his body was found 20 minutes away from where his phone last pinged at the bottom of a 500-foot cliff. So one of the searchers, Chris Tenerife, was the one to tip off Tenerife police and was the one to find his body. So according to Chris Tenerife, this was Jay's final movements. According to the official narrative, Jay went up a hill as opposed to down the hill towards civilization, which was the town of Masca, and in the right direction towards his hotel. Instead, for some reason, Jay went upwards to pretty much the middle of nowhere. Why did he do that? Again, the mystery is still unsolved. We learned that Jay didn't even like the outdoors, but somehow decided to take an 11-hour hike into a dangerous, unmarked trail. It just doesn't add up. Jay allegedly, according to his friends, called Brad first at 8:30 in the morning to laugh about going off track, off the highway, and it was a video call, and Brad said that he saw Jay sliding down the rocks and they were joking about it. But then also at 8:30 a.m., according to Lucy, he called her, but this call was a completely different mood than seconds before. He told Lucy that he was at 1% battery, didn't have anything to drink, his leg was cut by a cactus, and didn't know where he was. He then sent her a screenshot of his location. So I don't know how you call two people at the same time at 8:30 a.m. and make a video call and send a screenshot at 1% battery. It's also interesting to note that the times of the call to Lucy are reported differently across news reports. Some news reports say it was 8:15 a.m., others say 8:30 a.m., and we have Chris Tenerife saying 8:50 a.m. The screenshot of Jay's location he apparently sent Lucy shows Lucy as the green dot, meaning that she was the one to take it. And it was also later revealed that her phone records show that the call with Jay was outgoing, which contradicts her statements that Jay called her. Brad even contradicted Lucy's statements and said that he thinks Jay received a call as him and Jay were on the phone. I mean, it also is very interesting going back to this map. Google says that it took 49 minutes for Jay to get off track. So if Jay left the B&B at 8 a.m., he would have gotten off track at around 8:50 a.m. Plus he was dehydrated and probably walking very slowly uphill. So let's just say 9 a.m. So how is it possible that Jay made these phone calls at 8:30 a.m. to tell his friends that he was lost and, cut his leg on a cactus if he was not anywhere near this ravine that he was apparently in, according to his friends? With all these conflicting reports and holes in their story, it sounds to me that, his friends can't keep their story straight. And maybe that's why they weren't invited back to the pub. And maybe Debbie is onto it. So hopefully there is an inquest into Jay Slater's demise because Gabby even thinks so. She's the one that found all this information. We don't think things are adding up. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting my face right here. Let's roll the outro. Bye, guys.